Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You gotta name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Today's episode is sponsored by Sports Pro. If you're like me and want to stay on top of what's really happening in the sports industry, you need to check out Sports Pro Plus. Coming from Sports Pro, the number one business that connects, educates, and inspires the international sporting community. Sports Pro Plus is the ultimate hub for sports business knowledge with exclusive content, data, and analysis that keeps me up to speed with everything happening across the industry. And right now, listeners of the Sports Management Podcast get an exclusive 20% off with the code SMPOD20. That's SMPOD20. All you need to do is head over to sportspro.com/membership and start exploring today. Welcome to episode 224 of Sports Management Podcast. Today's guest is Ersel Aybasti, a licensed FIFA agent, founder of Analysis Sports Agents, and the author of The Women's Game, More Than Just a Game, Voices, Structures, and Perspectives in Global Women's Football. We spoke about why he decided to write about the women's game, why women's football needs more systematic investment, how he combines work as an agent, industrial engineer, and book writing, how agents can contribute to positive change in football, and much more. Ersel Aybasti, welcome to Sports Management Podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Marcus.
It's great to have you on the show. For those who might not know who you are the founder of Analysis Sports Agents. You're also a licensed FIFA agent. You are a promoter of women's football, and you recently co-authored a book called The Women's Game, which you have there behind you. So how did you get into the sports industry?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Marcus, first of all. So I think it's an honor for me to be here today and to have this podcast and introduce also myself and to give some insights about my work also as agent and also in the women's game. So just about me. Yeah, my name is Ersel Aybasti. I'm born and raised up in Germany, in the northern part of Germany, and actually living in the southern part. My roots are from Turkey. So my family, my mother and father comes from Turkey, and I studied here in Germany, played football first of all, and my target or aim was, as I was a child, to get professional. And then I made the move to Turkey also, played there and stayed there for 6 months, and then came back. And my parents always say studying and education is important. So that was also one of the reasons why I realized that football is not enough. Then I studied in Wolfsburg. I studied industrial engineering. And in 2014, it was my last year, make my degree. And after that, I started as an engineer in the automotive sector. Yeah, and during this time, my father, he's working as an agent since 2008. And I follow him and I see a lot from him and learn also a lot from him. And that was also the reason why we said, okay, let us try to build our own company, to build our own agency with our own mission and vision. So because I think to be an agent is not only to negotiate contracts, it's more.
Definitely. It's an agent is doing a little bit of everything, right? It could be from helping out with the accommodation if they're moving. It's not only the contracts. It's a 24/7 job for sure.
Yes, for sure. So it's always for the players to be there for the players, to give them a good environment. So in my opinion, an agent is one, you need the trust. So between agent, the relation between the player and agent is really important. So the trust is really important. And that's also one thing I would say it's really important to, before you start to working with the player, that you get this feeling. So that also the player get this feeling and also the parents get this feeling when we speak about minor players. So that's really important because you have an impact, a real impact and direct impact to the life of the people. So, and for me, and also for my father, we founded our agency in 2015 and actually, working since 10 years as agents. So for me, you can imagine I didn't start directly as an agent. So it was more the back office and like scouting to connect with clubs and players. And since 6, 7 years, I'm also working as an agent, and since 2 years also as licensed agent, because we needed to work in this industry. And yeah, it's important for us to build a good environment for our players to grow. So because that's really important to get a good feeling that the players know, okay, if I work with Ersel and Bayram, then they do a lot for me to make the next steps. And for me, for example, when I give you one example from our agency, actually, all the players or almost of the players, they came to us with recommendation. So we have one player, Marcel Baer, he's working with us since 10 years. And we have a goalkeeping coach, he's Marco Fritschka, he's actually at the RB Leipzig and the youth academy. He's also working with us since 10 years. Then we have Julia Matuszewski, a women's player. She's working with us since 8 years. And that's really important to get this relation with our clients.
Definitely, I can understand that. So take us back to 2015. You and your father started Analysis Sports Agent. So how come you wanted to start your own agency, and how did that go?
Yeah, as mentioned, so my father he started 2008 in this business, in this branch, and it was more like not advising. So it was more to negotiate a contract, and then he worked with bigger agencies. And after 3 or 4 years, he don't want to be in this sector anymore. And during this time, I was in my study time, and then I talk to my father and say, let us do our own thing. So because we know how it should work. And so we know that it's not easy to get professional. And I think the most important thing for the players is also not only to have the aim to get professional. It's always to get a good pupil, to get a good human. So, and to get a good career. So, and the career is not also only as a footballer. So you can be a good one, but I think there are a lot of players which have more potential to be a businessman, a businesswoman, and to get inside the clubs to make an impact as a manager, for example, or as a sporting director or something like that. And that was our aim. So to give the people who want to make the next step this environment and work sustainable to make the next steps in the careers, and to give them a guideline. I think it's the right word.
Exactly. And I know that your agency is offering an holistic support. It's not only transfer and contracts. It is the legal, but it's also some medical, psychological, career planning. So you have the holistic view. Was that important for you, that you cover all aspects?
Yeah, that's really important. So I think, for example, for me, the mental side is really, really important, and we see it. And also, there is a banner at the RB Leipzig training facility where you can read. So, talent and not talent, mentality beats talent, and I think that's really true. And this is also one reason why we give more than only the negotiation of a contract. So, the medical side, it's important that we have a second view. For example, if there is an injury, we have doctors where we can send the results of one report of the club doctor, for example, and get the second view. That's really important. And also, for example, we have one lawyer in Istanbul, and we can also ask him if he need any support in legal aspects. So that's good also for the player, that they know, okay, if we need anything, then we can talk to our agent and know that he will find the best fit for us.
I mean, you're operating in Germany, Turkey, and broadly around Europe. So how are you working with navigating, different traditions, values, cultures? Because every country might be a little bit different. Also in terms of contracts, then you might have different legal systems in different countries. So how is that?
Yeah, that's a good point, Marcus. So I think in this case, it's always important to have good partners. So we are actually 2 agents, and also we have got one more, and it's not, or it's impossible to be in every market. So that's never works, and so it's always important to have good partners where that they working in the same values we share, and that's good. So because then we can ask, okay, how is the system in Italy? How is the system in Balkan countries, for example? Or how is the system in the UK. And so we use our network to promote also our players and give the best guideline for our players.
Interesting. And you mentioned that you're a licensed agent since 2 years back. So if there is someone listening that they might want to become a football agent, what are the steps they need to go through? You mentioned the licensing. Are there different things that you need to have in order to be a football agent?
Yeah, first of all, you need to make the FIFA license exam. So there's one exam of the FIFA. So, and that was also one thing what I had to do in the past. It was 2023, as we got the mail from the German Football Federation. They told us that we need a license in October 2023. And yes, then I started to learn. So there's a lot of things to learn, and it was more than 600 pages. And the ethics sides and the legal sides and representation and so on. A lot of things which are important. And for me, it's like the driving license. So you need it to work. But if you see the market and if you see the people who are working in this, so they are good drivers and also bad drivers. And it's important also for the players to see who is working in a good way and who has values and who not. So, and that's also one point I always try to explain when I have a potential client, for example, a client, and speak to the parents. Then always say, don't work with me, but I have to tell you, you need to work with a licensed agent, and they will give you support. They will give you, the agent will give you a support and the guidance and try to make the next step for you. So then you can ask him, so with which club you are in touch, so with whom you spoke in the past. So give me an overview. And most of the agents don't do this, and most of the players don't ask for it. So that's important that also the players know. For example, in my case, I always try to send the FIFA or the FA or from the German Football Federation to send the regulations also to the parents, and I share them because it's important to know what the regulations are, that you also know what you are signing. So a representation contract is not difficult, but it's always important to understand what you are signing.
Definitely. And because I think that sometimes agents might get a bad rap, and you said there are good agents and bad agents. So not to, make the same conclusions with everybody. So it's, good to know that there are agents out there that they're doing the right thing. They're being ethical, following the rules, and doing the best for their clients.
Yeah, that's important. So that's really important. And I think there are also bad players, bad coaches, bad sporting directors, and also good. And it's always important to have the knowledge and to separate the good from the bad.
Definitely. So if we jump into women's football, now you have worked, as you said, with your company for 10 years. So how has your interest for women's football grown over the years? And then, we can lead up to the book that you recently published.
Yeah, for sure. So we started in the women's game. It was in 2017, so almost 8 years before. So, and then during this time, there was only a few agents, and the salaries was not so high, not like now. And also the most of the clubs don't know what an agent is doing. And our way started with Patricia Kladekova, or when I go back, we worked with František Straka. He's a former player and also coach in the Czech Republic. And he asked us if we have also contacts in the women's game, and that he know Patricia Kladekova. And he was the reason why we get in touch with her. And after this, we say, okay, we don't know, and we don't have contacts in the women's game, but we can try to get in touch with clubs. And so we started, and then I text a lot of clubs and asked them if they need a goalkeeper. And we offered the profile of Patricia. And then Winfried Klein, he's the head of women's football, or former head of women's football at Erste FC Saarbrücken. He opened the door and he mentioned, so she's really interested, and I would love to get more details about the player. So, and we made the deal in 2017 in the summer, I think it was. And yeah, that was the starting of the women's side. And for us, it was, as mentioned, also before how we started or why we started. So there was one player which wants support, and we try to give it. And we are actually also working with Patricia. I think she was the first one, and actually also working with us.
Interesting. So started with a one player wanted help, and now you have added on more women to your list.
Yes. So actually we have more players, so women players, female players than male. And it's also, we are not the classic agents which are jumping from pitch to pitch and try to give contact details. Most of the players, we have actually 35 to 40 players and or clients. So we have also coaches in our portfolio, and most of them came to us via recommendation. And that's really great to see that the people trust in us and want to work with us.
That's the best type of marketing, right? Word of mouth marketing, because then it's trusted by someone that you trust.
Yes, that's the best way, and that's the best marketing, as mentioned.
And then you have the book behind you, The Women's Game. So can you tell us a little bit about what do you cover in the book and also why you wrote the book?
Yeah, let me start with why we wrote the book. So I have to go into 2023. So I was during the preparation for the exam, for the FIFA license exam, I was at the course of Dr. Ersel. He was also in one of your podcast series. And yeah, it was 2 intensive days in Frankfurt. I meet him there, personal, and it was also the first touch with Ersel. And after this event, we almost was in touch. And last summer, I think it was in 2024, in summer, he asked me to build up the Women's League, so a magazine for women's football decision makers. So we founded the magazine, and then we started to publish one magazine each week with interesting insights about the women's game, not transfers. It was more for leadership, so for sponsorship. And every week we have one interview where we try to give people platform to push them or to publish their profiles. And then I think it was also at the end of 2024, Eric asked me, so he mentioned, so we have to write a book together. So, and about the women's game, because we have this knowledge and we are working in this field a lot of times. And then I never have thought about this. And then I talk to Erkut and say, okay, let me check if I can do it. And then let's start. And and then I try to get out if there is any book about this and if there is anything about the women's game. And then we find out there is nothing existing like our book. Then we started. So, and actually we have in the book, so it's about the history of the women's game. So then the current situation, the cultural aspect, the emotional aspect of players and of the clubs, the structure of clubs. And we have 28 voices within the book. So you can imagine we have 12 chapters, and behind chapter 1 and up to 11, we have one voice from a professional of this game. So it's really international. So for example, we have Laura Montgomery from Glasgow City, the CEO. She gave us an insight. Then we have Solina Zobi. She's the technical director of the Malaysian Football Federation. And we have Theo Karapetsas, the CEO of sports of Grasshopper Zurich. And then the last chapter is about voices of the pitch, because in my opinion, the people who are always in media and who have the visibility are players and coaches or sporting directors. And we try to give with this chapter people who are working in the kitchen and like, for example, agents, journalists, scouts. We have a player care manager, then different profiles. So a goalkeeping coach and really different profiles which gave us their voice. And that's, I think, makes this book something special. And also for me, because this is my first book. And let's see what will happen in the next years.
Interesting. And I know that Erkut has written quite a few books, both fiction and non-fiction books. But this was your first one. So wishing you all the best, obviously, with this one. But, being through your first book, what were some learnings that you took during this process?
During this process, so I think yeah, one positive learning is it's always important to have a good network in this business, and you will improve also yourself, and it will make a lot of things easier to work in this business. For me, really important, and also to see the impact. So because as we started, I was not sure if I have all the informations and if I can get it and know. And then we started, and then I saw, okay, so I have a lot of knowledge or have collected a lot of knowledge in the last past years. And also one thing is, so because during this time as we wrote it, it was not easy. So I have also some times where I say, okay, no, today I don't want to write anymore. So and that's really important to stay in loop and don't give up and make it happen. And it's when I look in my career, I always try to fight hard and do the next step for my dreams and also for my job and clients.
Yeah. I mean, your work combines analytical discipline, strong commitment. You're doing a lot of things at the same time. So, just adding writing a book onto a very busy schedule, it takes a lot of commitment and structure and planning your day to make that work with having, your engineering work, your agent work, the newsletter that you mentioned as well. So how did you manage to fit this into a very busy schedule already?
So to be honest, it's not easy, and you need a good environment and good people around you. So my wife, the first stage, and also it's important to surround you with people who give you a good energy to make something happen. I think that's really, really important, and also to choose the people who support you on your development. And so, for example, like Erkut, he's an amazing mentor also for me, and an amazing guy and an amazing pupil. And you need people like him to make the next step to develop, and not people who push your ego. And it's always about to get also negative feedback to improve yourself, and to also to reflect and see, okay, today it was a bad day, but why? And to ask also the why and what you can make better in the future to don't get in the same situation. And that's really important. And also to be transparent, because if you, for example, to manage all things in the same time, it's also important that the people you are working with know what you are have actually, what your challenges are. And if you don't have the time to support today or have a meeting, then you have to be transparent and say, okay, let us please meet next week. And I think that's important. So, and if you do this, you will be also successful, and don't lose your face to your clients, to your customers, to your clubs. And then you will be the one where the people say, okay, he has values and you can work with them and you can trust them.
Definitely. And I mean, the book now is in English and in German, and you're working on Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian as well. So, I mean, both you and Erkut has Turkish heritage. Any plans of doing a Turkish version? If you want a Swedish version, I'm happy to help out here, going global with this book.
Yeah, why not? So the first idea was so to do write it in, or to publish it in German. So because we raised up here in Germany, and in summer before summer 2025, before the Euros in Switzerland, we published the book, and 1 month later we published the English version, and then our thoughts was to have it in Spanish, and because there are a lot of countries which speaking Spanish, and it would be a good value also. And then we get in touch with some people, and also with Katarina Martins, for example, and she mentioned, okay, I would like to translate it in Portuguese, and then we started. In December we will launch it, and hopefully also in the starting of 2026 we will have it in Spanish. One colleague is also actually working on it, and also still in Italian. That was also a really great connection. It's also networking. So she asked us if we thought about the Italian version, and then we say, okay, why not? If you are there and if you want to do it, then let's talk about this. And no, we will have also the Italian version, and that's great that the people also trust us and say, okay, you have a good book, and we would like to have it in more language to give more insights to people which are maybe not speaking the language we have published until now.
Yeah, and it says something about the book, right? That they want to share it with more people. It must mean that it's a great book, right? And I think if you're talking about the football, if you're having Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, you're covering, a lot of football crazy nations, and English, obviously, as the global language.
Yeah.
That will get you quite a good reach.
Yeah, for sure. So if I get in touch with players or with parents also, that's really great. If you can say, okay, I have a book, and a few weeks ago, can give you one live example. I was in touch with players, and also it was a minor player. And then one of the parents told me, "We ordered your book today; it will deliver." And I say, "Okay." So where did you know that I wrote the book? So, and they checked in LinkedIn and also in the socials and saw that I wrote a book, and that was fantastic because it shows that we have the knowledge and are working not only for the money and or working for the values and to promote this game, because the women's game, in my opinion, has really, really great potential. And you see it also with the latest updates in this game. So with the German league, for example, and also the transfers and also the visibility of the players with big brands and which wants to work with the players, female players. Then with the Euros and also the viewers via television, and it grows, and in all countries we saw this grow, and that's makes us happy. And it's also great to be involved since 2017, and we're the business, we believed in it, and a lot of people say, and also in my environment, people say, oh, women's players, so women can't play football. And no, they are asking and how it's running, and we saw in the TV, and is it possible to get a ticket for the stadium, or is it possible to get a jersey? And that's makes me happy, and I'm sure it will grow in the next 2, 3, 5 years. We will talk about different things.
100%, and it's so much proof. There are teams that have their evaluation have like 100x in the last couple of years, and as you said, like now the stadium are filling up, the quality of the game is getting better. Like this, everything is talking towards that. But you have argued that women's football needs more systematic investment and not just passion. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what type of structural changes do you see as necessary for the women's game to grow even more?
So first of all, the structure of the FIFA, the UEFA, and then the federations, and also within the clubs. So, for example, there are a lot of clubs also here in Germany, or there was a lot of clubs which only has a women team. And actually, in the Bundesliga, in the German Bundesliga, we have one team left. So in the second Bundesliga, we have only one team left. And I think this clubs were the clubs which make it happen that we today speak about the women's game, because they invest a lot, and they will invest a lot of money, they will invest a lot of time to make it happen, that the player have a good environment, and that they can play this game. And now it's important to, for example, the transfer fees, or if you build up a player, or you support the player, youth player, and then in most of the leagues the player can move for free. And that is one point, in my opinion, where we need more regulations, and that the player which is investing in the player get also it's important that we have a training compensation for the clubs. If a club invest in a youth player and then the player make the move, then the club should pay for it, because it's important to invest this also in other players. And actually, I see it that it's not working, and a lot of smaller clubs can't live anymore, and they have to get smaller because they don't have the money to live. Because also we have a lot of bigger clubs in this game. So, and in my opinion, to make a sustainable work and also to be in long term in this business. It's always important that the players that the clubs don't think in short term to get the best player. I think they have to invest more in the structure of a club, that you have a media team, that you have a scouting team, then that you have in general structures within the club to get in the next step. And because I also, when I offer a player, I always look what kind of possibilities the club has on what is the midterm or long term target of the club. And if the players goes there, for example, there are a lot of clubs which pay good money, but they don't have a vision. So where you will be in the next 2, 3, 4 years. And in my case, I don't look, in my opinion, I don't only look at the moment. So for me, it's always important to see the future. And that's the best environment I can give to my players.
Yeah. So you think that there is something that agents can help here to contribute to a positive change and close the gender gap?
Yeah, for sure. So we are also part of this business, and we have to work together, and that's really important. And that the clubs, agents, parents, and also the players work together. To if I have a player at one club, then I want to get better and develop the player together with the club. If there is a possibility to make a deal, to make a better deal, to make a transfer, the better transfer for the player, then we should do it together with the club. So because it's also, if you, for example, are not the biggest club and you develop a player, then you can use it as marketing. You can say, okay, for example, I have this player, this player, this player came here, and use it to become a better player or to make the next step in the career. So in my opinion, it's really important that we all work together.
That's great. You have been in the industry now for quite some time. You have a lot of experience. There are young listeners and viewers that they might want to become a football agent or work in the football industry. So what would be some advice that you have for them?
Yeah, so the first advice, as mentioned also before, is try to build up a good network and with good people which want to help you, which support you to develop, which don't only push your ego. That's really important. And also try to have values. That's really important because you can make money for sure. So also as an agent, but I think it's more interesting if you stay for long term in this business and not only for 2 or 3 years. And for this, you need values, not values in written. So you have to live them. And it's important that the clubs know if I work with him, then I can trust him. I have an honest and reliable partner. And that's really important. And one thing more is have a clear mindset. So work consistency. That's also important, and have a target. So always try to work with targets, and then you will have success.
That's great. And it seems like you have this analytical mind from being an engineer together with the football knowledge that combines pretty well, right?
Yes, I try to use it. And I love balls, and football is my passion. And when I look back in the 10 years, then I can say, okay, I have as you mentioned, so the industrial side, not the football industry, a different side. And then when I'm on the pitch on the weekend, I have a clear mind and focus on football. And on Monday, I switch the cap and focus on the industrial side. And that's really great. And it makes me also in my decisions. I'm free when I make a decision for my player, and I can always think about the best fit for my player, not only on the money. And I think that's one of the most important things also in my work.
For sure. So you mentioned 10 years in the future looking back, but where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are your goals now looking forward?
To be honest, I never think about or not make a clear guidance. So for me, it's important to enjoy the current moment. And for me, for example, a few weeks ago, I got a jersey for my player, and that makes me happy, and I love it to sign a contract, to be with the players and also with the clients, and to see the success. And for sure, my target is to get, to collect more successes, and to give an impact to the people, and to write a book. Maybe Erko told me you have to write 20 books until the end of your career, so I have to a lot. So let us see what the time will bring. But for me, it's always important to have the values, and I will work in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years. I want to be in this business with the same values, and I hope that we can make adding value in this business.
I'm sure you will. And 20 books, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
You need to get going with your second one right away.
Yes. Maybe we can write together, Marcus. So why not?
For sure, I'd be happy to. That's also on my bucket list, to be fair, to write a book at some point. So I'd be happy to do that. I like to end on a networking question. So who from your network do you think would be a good guest on this show?
I would say if you go on the club side, then Osman Chankaya. He is the head of women's football of 1. FC Nürnberg in Germany. They are playing in the first division, and he is doing a great job. And then you can ask him about the structures, which are important in this game, because he do it on a really high level. I think he will be a good guest.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you for that. Ursel, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join Sports Management Podcast.
The pleasure is on my side, Marcus. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. It was an honor, and it makes fun. And hope to see you also in person in the near future.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Management Podcast. Please hit the follow or subscribe button on your podcast app so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. If you want to get in contact with me, send an email to sportsmpodcast@gmail.com, connect with me on LinkedIn, or follow the podcast on Instagram, X, and Facebook @SportsMPodcast.